on CTV. CSU announced the finalist for their presidential search. Hear why certain members of the community are not a fan.
As well as a potential financial dispute related to ASCSU. Will it cause student fees to increase next year?
Then find out why CSU's long-term volleyball head coach decided to call it quits. All this and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Kyra McKinley.
And I'm Mattison Brumagim. Thank you for joining us on our last show of 2022. Before we get into the news for you all tonight, the CSU men's basketball team is taking on one of their biggest rivals right now. Let's toss it over to Leah Kakowski, who will bring you up to speed. What's going on, Leah?
That's right, guys. Colorado State just tipped off against the Buffs. And man, do we need this dub after Sunday's embarrassing loss to UNC. These are my 3 keys to the game for Rams' success tonight. First, high intensity has to be present from tip-off. We've seen CSU consistently be a second-half team, especially this year. That attitude needs to quickly change heading into this heated rivalry, because a slow start won't suffice. Second, man defense has to lock in. It's not that the Rams played bad overall against UNC. They shot over 50% from the field, but just couldn't find a way to stop ball movement from the Bears' side. If they want to compete tonight, strong, clean defense will be key. And lastly, the Rams need to have intentional shots. When they get in a bind near the end, it's easy to result in sloppy, rushed attempts. So finding a way to slow the game down and take shots that are necessary and well thought out will help them succeed. They did a great job driving the ball through the paint last outing, so hopefully that will be another trend tonight. That's all I have for right now, but stick around later in the show to hear a live update from Boulder. Mattison and Kyra, back to you.
Thank you, Leah. A tragedy struck Fort Collins this Saturday when police found a man and 2 children dead in their home. Investigators are treating this case as a murder-suicide. Officers responded to a 911 call on Saturday morning from a man who reported that 3 people were dead inside the southeast Fort Collins home. Law enforcement believes the person who called the authorities was the man found deceased. He has been identified as 36-year-old Adam Zipperer. The deaths of 8-year-old Cameron Zipperer and 6-year-old Audrey Zipperer were ruled as homicides by gunshot wounds.
This is a tragic incident that affects those involved as well as the larger community.
The department can confirm Zipperer and the children were related, but are unable to share specifics at this time. Everyone here at CTV sends our condolences for those impacted by the loss in our community.
The mother of a young boy who accidentally shot himself last April pleaded guilty. On the night of April 10th, Fort Collins police responded to a call from a home in the 1200 block of East Lincoln Avenue. When they arrived, they found 6-year-old Roy Matthews dead on the floor with a gunshot wound to the head. The boy's parents, Rosanetta McKell and Ron Matthews, were both charged in the conviction of the death of their son. While the father pleaded guilty in September to tampering with evidence, McKell pleaded guilty on Tuesday for child abuse and unlawful storage of a gun. Her sentence is scheduled for this upcoming February.
A Fort Collins police officer who was accused of multiple instances of making false DUI arrests resigned last week. The department conducted an internal investigation on former officer Jason Hofferman when multiple DUI arrests were scrutinized or dismissed earlier this year. The investigation found that out of 11 cases where no alcohol or drugs were detected in blood test results, Hofferman was involved in 8. Fort Collins Police Chief Jeff Swaboa, said he was going to meet with Hofferman to discuss his final disciplinary decision, but the former officer resigned before that meeting.
You know, this story still brings up an important issue across the country. Driving under the influence can affect not only the driver, but those all around them.
That's right, Kyra, and it's super important to discuss this topic, especially this month. When you think of December, what comes to mind? Maybe it's the holidays or the end of fall semester, but did you know that December is also National Impaired Driving Prevention Month? The city of Fort Collins has the highest rate of driving under the influence in the state of Colorado. So far in 2022, there has been 11 deaths relating to impaired driving in Larimer County.
Sometimes during the holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, special New Year's, anytime you have more of a party atmosphere, you also have an increase in drinking and driving. And New Year's Eve is probably one of our busiest nights.
In 2019, the National Highway Safety Traffic Administration reported that 210 lives were lost between Christmas and New Year's Day due to alcohol-impaired driving.
It's not worth it. There are too many opportunities out here for people to take, whether it's a shared driver, a designated driver, Uber, Lyft, things like that, for people to avoid that. Just remember, not only can it affect your life, it's obviously the life of other people that are innocent people.
There are various resources to help prevent impaired driving.
Ramride is a program that the university has been running for about 20 years now, and recently we've partnered with Lyft to provide rides nationwide on holidays. So if you are a student of CSU, if you log into the Ramride app on a holiday evening, you can, anywhere in the country, receive a Lyft code for a Lyft pass that evening to get you home safe. We've done some research that the average ride within the city typically amounts to like $12.95. So we usually do a $13 Lyft pass because that will cover most average rides.
In Colorado, impaired driving has increased by 50% in the last decade. The City of Fort Collins Traffic Safety Summary from 2018 discovered that nearly 50% of all severe fixed object crashes involve alcohol.
To the bump.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
Your student fees could increase if ASCSU spends all of their budget this year. The next administration may have to ask for more funding from the Student Fee Review Board, which could increase student fee dollars.
We have $1.3 million to play around with. Theoretically, if that $1.3 million was spent entirely, there would be less money the next administration than there was this year. So they would only have $1.3 million overall, and half of that, $500,000 of that would be sunset clauses. Whereas this year we have about 1.3 million free money to spend, and there's about $500K in the sunset clauses still. So that's kind of a little bit what's going on. My bill basically will not fix the problem, but make sure the problem doesn't get worse. Basically putting regulations on sunset clauses so that way the sunset clause problem doesn't balloon up into a bigger problem.
Elijah Sandoval, who is the president of the Student Fee Review Board, supported President Long's decision to try and reallocate or regulate ASCSU funding.
For ASCSU in particular, I would much rather see reallocations of the budget rather than putting it on students first. I cannot speak for next year's administration. I don't even know who next year's administration is, so I don't know what they would do. But unless they come to us with a really solid reason as to why they want to increase the fees, I don't foresee there being a fee increase for ASCSU.
President Long's Lex was tabled, so it will be presented at the first ASCSU meeting next semester. And at that time, we'll see how this financial problem will be dealt with.
After almost half a year, the CSU Board of Governors announced Amy Parsons as the sole finalist for the presidential position at Colorado State University, but some are skeptical of this decision. Of CSU staff have expressed concerns about her previous experience. They feel as if though she is not qualified for the position, as she does not have a background in education or research. We will know if the community's concerns influences the Board of Governors by December 15th.
If you walk through the Laurie Student Center Plaza, odds are you'll see some students and people from the community spreading awarenesses for causes that they care about. Yesterday afternoon, Anonymous for the Voiceless was on campus, raising awareness for animal cruelty.
For these animal activists, their driving reason for being vegan is not just to have a healthier diet.
I would just bring it back to the animals. You know,
This group here, it's not about us or affects us. We're thinking about the animals, and caring for the animals and not killing the animals.
No animals are exempt from animal cruelty in the meat and dairy industry.
The babies cry, the moms cry, it's horrible. The mom is re-impregnated right away so that she can continue to produce milk. The babies are either killed because they're of no use to the dairy industry. If they look like, that'll grow up to be a good mom, they're put into the same horrible cycle as the mom. If they're a boy, they're very likely to be killed, or they'll put in a veal crate.
Students here at CSU had a wide range of opinions after hearing about the realities of this industry.
Eating animals and animal products, these are pretty healthy for people. But on the other side, I feel like we have good plant options, like for the proteins and for everything. But yes, it's very essential for kids, for grown-ups, for their daily requirement of their energy and their maintenance and all kind of energy. So yeah,
I think it's good that they're out here trying to spread awareness about it. I personally understand it. I have a lot of feelings towards the fast food industry and the meat production there, not in support of it. So I think it's good that they're out here.
These animal activists are hopeful that their presence on campus will spread awareness about the realities of the meat and dairy industry and inspire students to take action.
And that people will either perhaps become vegans or become vegan activists. Try to make a change. One of the reasons that the companies exist that we're seeing here is that people buy the stuff.
One person can save the lives of up to 100 animals a year by switching to a meat and dairy-free diet, according to one of these animal activists, Leilani Castle.
If you have yet to store reusable bags in your car for unplanned grocery shopping, 2023 may be a good time to consider doing so. Starting January 1st, Fort Collins' ban on single-use plastic bags will be broadened. Currently, the ban is only impacting large grocery stores, charging 10 cents per single-use plastic bag. In the new year, per the Colorado State Plastic Pollution Reduction Act, large retail stores such as Home Depot and REI will also be included in the ban, implementing the 10-cent fee on the use of single-use bags. Fort Collins is 7 months in from the city's plastic bag ban and has profited almost $120,000 from the 10-cent bag fee within grocery stores.
The minimum wage in Fort Collins is just $12 an hour, which is $5 shy of a livable one, according to the city. Fort Collins is taking steps towards creating a more livable minimum wage requirement. In January, the city will increase its minimum wage requirement to $15 an hour. The Colorado State University Housing and Dining Services will be increasing their minimum wage to $15 an hour as well. This increase in minimum wage will help the university hire and retain more staff, according to the Collegian. It will also help their staff make a more livable minimum wage as well.
In the mood to de-stress and be inspired by your fellow students? Well, now you have that opportunity. The annual Student Art Exhibition is now open at the Kerfman Gallery located in the Laurie Student Center. The exhibit houses many solo pieces of artwork from any form of media. LSC Arts Program co-lead installer Alice Newman said, quote, "I think the gallery is a fantastic way to get to know the creative minds we have at CSU. Spaces like this are such a good way to see how people are combining their research with art and seeing how people work through their process," end quote. Once again, the exhibit is open now and will be open through January 27th. And with that, that's all the news we have for you all tonight. But stick around.
Kowski will return after the break to take a deep dive into one of CSU's head volleyball coaches.
You may not want to miss it.